Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So day one of the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships is done and dusted, and we saw quite a few impressive performances. But what I will say for those performances that they were pretty expected based on athlete A heading into the champs. You're like, okay, based on what you're doing, we're expecting XYZ. So yeah, I believe that some of those performances were definitely expected. Still impressive though. And of course, I can't wait to see what will happen in the finals of all those events. But there's one particular athlete that really stood out to me because I was not expecting her to look as phenomenal as she did, and that is Alliah Baker in the girls class 100-meter heat. No, she looked absolutely phenomenal in the race. Now, shortly before the race went off, I will admit I caught myself saying that Alliah Baker to me strikes me as a more 400-meter athlete than she does a sprinter. But Alliah Baker said, watch this. Track is from there, you could see my face. I was utterly gobsmacked. Her execution over that first 30 left me awed and floored. And then, of course, carrying through to the rest of the race, track is, she jogged, but for the most part, track is just looking at it. The technical application of her sprint was 100% impressive. I don't know what happened in the last few weeks, but clearly this is an Alliah Baker that has come out as a sprinter 400 meters where. So from there, I was like, okay, let me see the time, let me see the wind, because the wind in the stadium was swirling. So that definitely affected the performances quite a bit at the championships. So she ran at 11.94 seconds in a negative 0.7 meters per second wind to take her race. So I started to think, considering how impressive she looked, especially technically, and the fact that she was so easy in the race, I'm starting to harbor thoughts that Alliah Baker could challenge what I believe would be the fastest time across all classes in the 100 meters for the girls. Now, heading into the championships, my belief was that Terrelonge would be the fastest girl across all classes. Class 2 is where it was going to be with Terrelonge. Now, heading in, she had a personal best, and that is Terrelonge had a personal best of 11.25 seconds, while when you looked at a Alliah Baker, she was at 11.59 seconds. So with that said, there was a clear distinction in terms of, the best athletes, you would say, heading into the champs, considering as well that she is the world junior leader right now with her 11.25 seconds. So yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Terrelonge was expected to come in here and, walk everyone and literally, run super fast, especially with people harboring thoughts of her possibly going sub 11. Now, I wasn't thinking sub 11 prior to that 11.25 seconds, but after seeing the 11.25, maybe at champs we could definitely get that 2/10 shaved off. It is a possibility. But in her heat, just to make a quick comparison, and check is, I'm not comparing their ages. Yes, I know one is younger, clearly, and one has had so much room for improvement in terms of technically when you look at Terrelonge over the event. But still, in terms of just times I was expecting for the overall championships in terms of a win from class 2, for me, it would come from Terrelonge. So in her heat now, she won running a 12.15 seconds in a negative 1.6 meters per second win, also looking absolutely easy. So I was actually left in a spot of bother looking at the actual events, because I won't lie, Terrelonge very, very impressive, but also Alliah Baker looking impressive as well. Then I started to think about Heidel in most recent years and the fact that the head coach Corey Bennett seems to have unlocked something phenomenal there in terms of the technical application for his sprinters over that 100 meters. Now, we've seen the likes of a Brianna Liston, we've seen a Kerika Hill, and in most recent years, a 10.92 Alana Reid. And for the most part, trackies, other than us looking at a, say, quote unquote, Brianna Liston, because she was coming from 12, so it was expected that she would be, a phenomenal sprinter. But for the likes of a Kerika Hill, when she came out and ran at 11.16, and then we see an Alana Reid the year later running, 10.92. Those were not performances I believe anybody was really expecting. So now when I look at an Aaliyah Baker that came into the championships, for me, an athlete that was a better 400-meter athlete based on how she ran technically. Personally, when I looked at her over the last, years of her performing, she got out of the blocks, slow, like how a 400-meter athlete would run. So with that said, that was what I was expecting to see at champs, but no, no, no. She definitely turned up every bit the sprinter, her complete dry phase. I was like, wow, who is this person? Is this really Aaliyah Baker? So when I take all of these things into consideration, and then now I'm looking at an Aaliyah Baker and how she looked, plus the fact that she's tall, she's able to cover much more ground, more than the typical height athlete you would say in the distance. I would say potentially Aaliyah Baker could also get down to that close to sub 11 as well and challenge what I thought would have been potentially the fastest time coming out of the girls championships. Yes, that is my thought when I think about Aaliyah Baker, and I was not thinking it before the championships, but right now I am, based on how she looked, one, technically over the event, and of course how relaxed she was in executing her heat race. Now, with that said, track is clearly, as I said, Tierney Terrelonge is the younger of the two. So there's that much more room for improvement when she gets to class one. And if that 10.92 survives, because I did see someone in my comment section say to me, I wonder if she could do a 10.88. And I'm not going to lie, I was a bit confused. I didn't know what to think, because on one hand, I'm rejecting the notion because it's not so easy to go sub 11. So that is always in my thought process. You can just think about it from a global perspective. How many women have really gone sub 11, in history, right? So when you look at it from that perspective and a sub 11, it's not that easy to do. So whilst, part of me is rejecting the sub 11 notion, there's also part of me that's like, this is a Corey Bennett that got Alana Reed to go 10.92. You know what I mean? It is very much possible, but I would definitely wait to see on what will happen in the finals. But with that said, Tierney Lee Terrelonge, if that 10.92 does survive, has a lot more room for improvement, especially technically when you look at how she executes. There's a lot more room for improvement over the event. So by the time she gets to class one, that 10.92 would be gone as far as I'm concerned, right? But with that said, living in the moment, living in the present, I am looking at what a Tierney Lee Terrelonge will do, and I believe she's getting close to sub 11 as well, if not sub 11. And I'm looking at now an Alliah Baker that I did not think would be able to challenge those times at all, also looking to go that fast as well. And going based on Corey Bennett's history with these girls, it is very, very likely. So, Trackies, now it's your turn to sound off in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Did you see Alliah Baker's run, and are you as impressed as I am looking at that run? And what do you think we may get at the end of the day? Are you starting to harbor thoughts like you saw with an Alana Reed that came out of nowhere? That Kerika Hill also came out of nowhere. We expected a good time as well from a Brianna Liston, but I have to say, Corey Bennett has definitely unlocked something special when it comes to training these girls, especially over that 100 meters. And I am been utterly impressed seeing Alliah Baker take to the first heat of the girls class 100-meter final, well, heats that is, and I'm expecting her to see her go much faster as she progresses through the rounds. Anyway, trackies, like the video of course and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.